A bulldog guards a lost vintage car. What it hides is amazing. The air was thick with the scent of rain, and the gravel crunched underfoot as John Miller trudged down the deserted country road. The storm clouds had rolled in faster than he anticipated, painting the evening sky in hues of grey and purple. He pulled his jacket tighter, muttering under his breath about the unreliability of his old pickup, now abandoned a few miles back due to a flat tire. His only company was the distant rumble of thunder and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. John had lived in these parts for most of his life. The back roads and vast open fields were as familiar to him as the lines on his weathered face. Yet tonight there was something different, something unsettling in the air. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but it was enough to quicken his pace. As he turned a bend in the road, he spotted a dilapidated barn perched on a hill, its silhouette stark against the darkening sky. The barn had been abandoned for years, a relic from a time when the land was teeming with life and activity. Now it stood as a ghostly reminder of days long past, but tonight it seemed almost alive. A flicker of light caught John's attention. Was it a trick of the storm, or had someone been there recently? Curiosity piqued, he decided to investigate. His boots sank into the soft earth as he made his way up the hill, the barn growing larger with each step. The wooden doors, hanging loosely on their rusted hinges, creaked ominously in the wind. Pushing the doors open, John was greeted by the musty smell of damp wood and hay. The barn was a cavernous space, with shafts of moonlight filtering through the broken roof, casting eerie shadows on the walls. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he noticed something that made his heart skip a beat. In the center of the barn, covered in dust and cobwebs, stood a vintage car. A stunning 1953 Buick Skylark, its once gleaming body now dulled by years of neglect. John's breath caught in his throat. He had always been a car enthusiast, and finding such a rare gem hidden away was nothing short of a miracle. But what really caught his attention was the figure sitting beside the car. A large bulldog with a stoic expression, its eyes watching him intently. The dog didn't move, didn't bark, just sat there guarding the car as if it were a precious treasure. John approached cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. The bulldog remained still, its gaze unwavering. There was something almost regal about the animal, a sense of purpose and determination that was both unsettling and awe-inspiring. "Hey there, buddy," John said softly, extending a hand. "What's your story?" The bulldog tilted its head slightly, as if contemplating the question. Then, with a low, rumbling growl, it stood up and walked to the other side of the car, revealing something hidden beneath an old, tattered blanket. John hesitated for a moment before pulling the blanket aside. What he saw made his blood run cold. A set of old, rusted keys and a map, the edges frayed and yellowed with age. The map detailed a route leading to a place John had never heard of, with cryptic symbols and notes scribbled in the margins. It was as if the car and the bulldog were guarding a secret, one that had been buried for decades. John's mind raced with questions. Who left the car here? What was the significance of the map? And why was this dog, of all things, guarding it so fiercely? The storm outside intensified, rain pounding on the roof and lightning illuminating the barn in brief, blinding flashes. But John hardly noticed. He was too engrossed in the mystery that lay before him, too captivated by the strange connection he felt with the bulldog and the secrets it seemed to protect. Little did he know, this night would set him on a journey that would change his life forever, unraveling a tale of lost treasures, forgotten histories, and the unbreakable bond between man and beast. Got it. Here's the second section, establishing the normal world. The following morning, the storm had passed, leaving the countryside bathed in a fresh, dewy calm. John woke to the sound of birds chirping and the gentle rustle of leaves outside his window. The events of the previous night lingered in his mind like a vivid dream, but the dusty scent of his clothes and the faint ache in his muscles reminded him it had been all too real. John lived alone in a modest farmhouse on the edge of town, a stone's throw from the winding country roads he had walked so many times. His life was simple, perhaps too simple. Days were filled with routine tasks, tending to his small vegetable garden, fixing things around the house, and occasionally helping out at the local garage. It was a life that many would consider mundane, but for John, it was a peaceful escape from the chaos he had once known. After brewing a pot of coffee, John sat by the window, staring out at the horizon. The image of the Bulldog and the vintage car haunted him. The map and keys he had found were now sitting on his kitchen table, their mysterious presence pulling at his curiosity. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something far bigger than himself. The townsfolk often regarded John as a bit of a recluse. He wasn't one for idle chatter or social gatherings, preferring the quiet solace of his home and the open road. His past was a tapestry of lost opportunities and lingering regrets, a life once filled with promise, now reduced to memories and what-ifs. But there was a fire in John, a yearning for adventure that had never quite been extinguished. After finishing his coffee, John decided to pay a visit to his friend Tom, the local historian and a fellow car enthusiast. If anyone could shed light on the vintage Buick and the strange map, it would be Tom. Grabbing the map and keys, he set off down the road, the morning sun casting long shadows across the fields. Tom's place was a small, cluttered workshop filled with old books, maps, and car parts. The scent of oil and aged paper greeted John as he stepped inside. "Well, if it isn't the elusive John Miller," Tom greeted him with a grin. "What brings you out of your cave?" John chuckled. "I've got something that might pique your interest." He laid the map and keys on Tom's workbench, watching as his friend's eyes lit up with curiosity. Tom picked up the map, examining it closely. "Where did you find this?" John recounted the events of the previous night, sparing no detail. About the storm, the barn, and the stoic Bulldog, Tom listened intently, his expression shifting from curiosity to intrigue. "This map, it's old. Really old," Tom murmured, tracing the faded lines with his finger. "And these symbols, they're not just random doodles. This looks like a treasure map." "A treasure map?" John echoed, disbelief coloring his tone. "Think about it," Tom continued. "An abandoned vintage car, a mysterious Bulldog, and now this map. It all fits together like pieces of a puzzle. Someone left that car there for a reason, and they trusted that dog to guard it." John rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the weight of Tom's words. "But why me? Why now?" "Maybe it's fate," Tom said with a shrug. "Or maybe the universe is giving you a second chance at adventure." The idea seemed far-fetched, but deep down, John felt a spark of excitement, a long-forgotten thrill, awakening within him. He had spent years hiding from the world, burying his dreams under layers of routine and solitude. But now he stood at the threshold of something extraordinary. As he left Tom's workshop, John felt a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. The mystery of the vintage car and the Bulldog was calling to him, urging him to follow the map and uncover the secrets it held. His quiet, predictable life was about to be turned upside down, and for the first time in a long while, he welcomed the change. Here's the third section. The critical incident. The days following John's discovery were filled with restless anticipation. The map and keys became a constant presence in his thoughts, their mystery gnawing at him. Each night, he found himself staring at the faded parchment, tracing the intricate lines and symbols that hinted at a forgotten past. The Bulldog's stoic gaze haunted his dreams, a silent guardian urging him forward. It wasn't long before John made up his mind. He packed a small bag, ensuring he had the essentials: water, a flashlight, and a notebook to document his findings. The map was carefully folded and tucked into his jacket pocket, the keys jingling softly as he moved. His heart pounded with a mix of excitement and trepidation as he locked the farmhouse door behind him and set off down the path toward the barn. The morning air was crisp and cool, the countryside bathed in a golden hue. The barn stood, as it always had, a weathered sentinel against the backdrop of rolling hills. As John approached, the bulldog appeared, emerging from the shadows with an air of calm authority. It regarded him with the same unyielding gaze, as if acknowledging the journey he was about to undertake. With a deep breath, John reached for the barn door and pushed it open. The old Buick sat in the center, its polished chrome glinting in the sunlight that streamed through the gaps in the wooden slats. The air inside was thick with the scent of aged leather and motor oil, a reminder of a bygone era. John approached the car, his fingers brushing against the cool metal of the hood. The keys felt heavy in his hand as he slid them into the ignition. With a twist, the engine roared to life, a deep, throaty growl that echoed through the barn. The bulldog watched. From the doorway, its expression unreadable. John couldn't shake the feeling that the dog was more than just a guardian. It was a guide leading him toward a destiny he had yet to comprehend. The map led John down winding country roads, each turn bringing him closer to the unknown. The landscape shifted from familiar farmland to dense forests, the trees towering overhead like ancient sentinels. The air grew cooler, the sunlight filtering through the canopy in dappled patterns. The road narrowed, the sense of isolation deepening with each passing mile. Hours passed in a blur, the hum of the engine a steady companion. Just as doubt began to creep into John's mind, the road opened up to reveal a clearing. In the center stood an old, crumbling mansion, its once grand facade now marred by the passage of time. Ivy clung to the stone walls, the windows dark and foreboding. The place exuded an air of forgotten grandeur, a relic of a past shrouded in mystery. John parked the Buick and stepped out, the bulldog at his side. The mansion loomed before them, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets. The front door was ajar, the hinges creaking as it swung open with a gentle push. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. The floorboards groaned underfoot, the weight of history pressing down on the old structure. As John ventured deeper into the mansion, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Shadows danced along the walls, the flickering light casting eerie shapes that seemed to move of their own accord. Each step took him closer to the heart of the mystery, the map guiding him through a labyrinth of corridors and hidden chambers. In one of the rooms, John discovered a grand library, its shelves lined with dusty tomes and forgotten artifacts. A large desk stood at the center, a faded journal resting atop it. The pages were yellowed with age, the ink barely legible. John flipped through the journal, his heart racing as he uncovered the story of the mansion's former owner, a reclusive inventor who had vanished under mysterious circumstances. The journal hinted at a hidden workshop, a place where the inventor had conducted secret experiments. The map seemed to confirm this, its final destination marked by a symbol resembling the mansion itself. John felt a surge of adrenaline as he pieced together the clues, the thrill of discovery propelling him forward. The bulldog led him to a hidden staircase, the entrance concealed behind a bookcase in the library. The steps descended into darkness, the air growing colder with each step. John's flashlight cut through the gloom, revealing a cavernous workshop filled with strange machines and unfinished inventions. The walls were lined with blueprints and sketches, the remnants of a brilliant mind lost to time. At the center of the workshop stood a large covered object. John approached cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. With a deep breath, he pulled back the tarp to reveal a gleaming contraption unlike anything he had ever seen. It was a vehicle of sorts, its sleek design and intricate machinery hinting at a purpose far beyond ordinary means. The bulldog sat by the entrance, its gaze fixed on John, as if awaiting his next move. The keys in his pocket felt heavy, their purpose now clear. John slid them into the ignition of the strange machine, the engine springing to life with a hum of energy. The workshop filled with a soft, pulsating light, the air crackling with an electric charge. As the machine roared to life, John felt a surge of exhilaration. The pieces of the puzzle had fallen into place, the mystery of the vintage car and the bulldog unraveling before his eyes. The journey had only just begun, the road ahead filled with endless possibilities and untold adventures. Here's the fourth section, Introduction of the Unlikely Savior. John stood in awe as the strange machine hummed with life, its sleek design and complex mechanisms pulsing with energy. The workshop around him seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for the next chapter of the story to unfold. Yet amidst the technological marvels and the enigma of the inventor's legacy, the true savior of John's journey stood quietly by the entrance, the bulldog. As the machine settled into a steady rhythm, John's gaze shifted to his unexpected companion. The bulldog's calm, unwavering presence was a stark contrast to the electric energy that filled the room. Its eyes, deep and soulful, seemed to carry a wisdom beyond comprehension, a silent reassurance that John was exactly where he needed to be. The bond between John and the bulldog had grown subtly yet profoundly. From their first meeting in the barn to this pivotal moment in the hidden workshop, the bulldog had been more than just a passive observer. It had guided John through the maze of the mansion, its instincts unerring and its loyalty unquestionable. There was a quiet intelligence in its actions, as if it understood the stakes of their quest in a way that transcended mere animal intuition. John knelt beside the bulldog, his hand resting gently on its head. "You've been with me every step of the way," he whispered, the words carrying a mix of gratitude and wonder. "I don't know how you know, but I trust you." The bulldog's tail wagged slightly, a subtle acknowledgement of their unspoken understanding. In that moment, John realized that this unlikely savior was not just a guide, but a guardian, a steadfast protector who had been waiting for the right person to unlock the mysteries hidden within the mansion. The workshop, once filled with the hum of machinery, now felt alive with a different kind of energy. The bond between man and animal, forged through shared trials and quiet moments of connection. John could feel the weight of history pressing down on them, the legacy of the reclusive inventor intertwined with their own journey. The bulldog was a living link to the past, a sentinel that had stood watch over the secrets of the mansion for decades. As John explored the workshop further, the bulldog remained at his side, its presence a comforting constant amidst the sea of unknowns. Together, they examined the blueprints and sketches that lined the walls, the intricate details of the inventor's designs, revealing a mind far ahead of its time. The machine at the center of the room was the culmination of a lifetime of work, a vehicle capable of extraordinary feats, its purpose still shrouded in mystery. The journal on the desk hinted at the inventor's vision, a dream of creating a machine that could transcend time and space, unlocking the hidden potential of the universe. John's pulse quickened as he pieced together the clues, the implications of their discovery both thrilling and daunting. The bulldog watched him intently, its gaze never wavering, as if sensing the gravity of their mission. Despite the technological marvels around him, it was the bulldog's presence that grounded John, reminding him of the importance of trust and companionship. The machine may have been the key to unlocking the secrets of the mansion, but it was the bulldog's unwavering loyalty that gave him the courage to continue. In the face of the unknown, their bond was a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light of friendship could guide the way. As the day turned to dusk, the workshop was bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. John and the Bulldog stood side by side, gazing at the horizon as the sky transformed into a canvas of vibrant colors. The journey ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges and discoveries yet to come. But with the Bulldog by his side, John knew he could face whatever lay ahead. The Bulldog's role as an unlikely savior had been revealed, its quiet strength and unwavering loyalty a testament to the power of connection. In the heart of the hidden workshop, amidst the remnants of a forgotten legacy, John found a sense of purpose and belonging. Together, they would continue their journey, guided by the lessons of the past and the promise of the future. Here's the fifth section, escalation of challenges. The next few days in the mansion proved to be anything but peaceful. As John delved deeper into the mysteries of the workshop, the challenges began to mount, each one testing his resolve and the bond he shared with the Bulldog. It started with the discovery of a hidden compartment beneath the workshop floor. John and the Bulldog had been examining a series of intricate gears when the Bulldog's paw accidentally pressed a loose floorboard. A low rumble echoed through the room as the floor shifted, revealing a staircase leading into darkness. John hesitated, glancing at the Bulldog, whose eyes were fixed on the opening, as if urging him to descend. With a flashlight in hand, John carefully made his way down the stairs, the Bulldog close at his heels. The air grew colder, and the faint scent of oil and metal filled his nostrils. At the bottom, he found a second workshop, filled with prototypes and half-finished machines that seemed even more advanced than the ones above. Yet, there was an air of neglect and abandonment, as if this place had been forgotten for decades. As they explored, a sudden clattering noise made John freeze. His flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The Bulldog's ears perked up, and a low growl rumbled from its throat. John tightened his grip on the flashlight, scanning the room for the source of the noise. Out of the shadows, a mechanical arm swung into view, its rusty joints creaking as it moved. The arm was part of a larger machine, an automaton that had somehow reactivated. Its movements were jerky, and sparks flew from its joints. The automaton lurched toward John, its once precision movements now erratic and unpredictable. John backed away slowly, trying to stay calm, but the Bulldog had other plans. With a fierce bark, it leaped toward the automaton, its teeth sinking into the exposed wiring. The automaton sputtered and convulsed, its movements becoming more erratic before it finally collapsed in a heap of metal. John rushed forward, pulling the Bulldog away from the wreckage. "Are you okay?" he asked, checking the Bulldog for any injuries. The Bulldog wagged its tail, seemingly unscathed but clearly proud of its victory. Their victory was short-lived, however, as more sounds echoed from deeper within the workshop. It became clear that this hidden room was filled with machines that had been left in a dormant state, now slowly coming back to life. John and the Bulldog had to navigate a gauntlet of malfunctioning automatons, each one presenting a unique challenge. One machine, resembling a giant spider, skittered across the ceiling, its many legs tapping out a rhythmic pattern that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. John used his wits and the flashlight to confuse its sensors, while the Bulldog distracted it from the ground. Together, they managed to disable it, but not without a few close calls. Another challenge came in the form of a maze-like corridor filled with moving walls and shifting floors. John and the Bulldog had to rely on each other to find a safe path through the constantly changing environment. The Bulldog's keen sense of direction proved invaluable, leading John through the maze with uncanny accuracy. As they progressed, the challenges grew more complex, each one designed to test their ingenuity and teamwork. There were puzzles that required precise timing, traps that demanded quick reflexes, and obstacles that could only be overcome by sheer determination. Through it all, John and the Bulldog grew closer, their bond strengthened by each shared victory and narrow escape. Despite the physical challenges, it was the emotional toll that weighed heaviest on John. The constant danger and the looming uncertainty of what they might find at the end of their journey took a toll on his spirit. There were moments of doubt, times when he questioned whether it was all worth it, but every time he looked at the bulldog, he found the strength to carry on. The bulldog, too, seemed to sense the weight of their mission. It stayed close to John, offering silent support and comfort. Its presence was a reminder that he was not alone, that they were in this together. The bond they shared was more than just a partnership. It was a friendship, forged in the crucible of adversity. One night, after a particularly harrowing day, John and the bulldog found a small, hidden alcove where they could rest. The room was filled with old blueprints and journals, remnants of the inventor's work. John sat down, his back against the wall, and the bulldog curled up beside him. The flickering light of the flashlight cast long shadows on the walls, creating a cocoon of warmth and security. As John leafed through the journals, he began to piece together the inventor's story. The inventor had been a visionary, driven by a desire to create machines that could change the world. But his ambition had come at a cost. His obsession with his work had isolated him from the world, leaving him alone in his mansion with only his creations for company. John couldn't help but feel a kinship with the inventor. He too had been searching for something, driven by a desire to uncover the truth. But unlike the inventor, he had the bulldog by his side, a loyal companion who reminded him of the importance of connection and trust. As the night wore on, John and the bulldog drifted off to sleep, their bodies and minds exhausted from the day's challenges. In the quiet darkness of the hidden alcove, they found a moment of peace, a brief respite from the trials that lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but John knew that as long as they faced it together, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. The bulldog had proven itself to be more than just an unlikely savior. It was a true friend, a guardian, and a source of strength in the face of the unknown. Here's the sixth section, subplot development. Amid the escalating challenges within the mansion, a new layer of complexity emerged, an unexpected subplot that deepened the story and added emotional weight to John's journey. It began with the discovery of an old photograph tucked away in one of the inventor's journals. The photograph, faded and weathered, depicted a younger version of the inventor standing proudly beside a gleaming vintage car. What caught John's attention, however, was the presence of a small child holding the hand of the inventor, both of them smiling warmly at the camera. In the background, barely visible, stood a familiar figure, a bulldog, much like the one accompanying John. Intrigued by the photograph, John couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story of the bulldog and its connection to the inventor. The journal entries, which had previously seemed like technical notes and design schematics, now took on a more personal tone. John found entries that spoke of the inventor's deep bond with his son and the family's shared love for their loyal bulldog. As John delved deeper into the journals, he uncovered a tragic story. The inventor's son had been fascinated by his father's work, often spending hours in the workshop learning and exploring. The bulldog had been his constant companion, a guardian and playmate. But one fateful day, an accident in the workshop had claimed the life of the young boy, leaving the inventor devastated and guilt-ridden. The loss had driven the inventor into isolation, his work becoming an obsession as he tried to cope with his grief. The journals revealed his desperate attempts to create machines that could undo the past, bring back what was lost, or at least preserve the memories of happier times. The vintage car, once a family heirloom, had been meticulously restored as a tribute to his son. John couldn't help but feel a deep sense of empathy for the inventor. The pain of loss and the longing for connection were universal themes that resonated deeply with him. He realized that the bulldog he had come to rely on might very well be the same loyal companion from the photograph, a living link to the inventor's past. This realization added a new dimension to John's mission. It was no longer just about uncovering the secrets of the mansion and its mysterious machines. It was about understanding the human story behind it all. The bulldog was more than just a guardian of the mansion. It was a keeper of memories, a symbol of love and loss. As John pieced together the narrative, he found himself reflecting on his own life and the relationships that had shaped him. The bulldog's unwavering loyalty reminded him of the importance of connection and the enduring power of love, even in the face of tragedy. The subplot also introduced a sense of urgency to John's journey. He realized that the mansion, with all its wonders and dangers, was a monument to the inventor's grief and a testament to his enduring love for his son. The machines, once marvels of innovation, had become relics of a past that the inventor could never let go of. In one of the final journal entries, the inventor wrote about a secret project, an automaton designed to be a companion for his son, a way to keep his memory alive. The project had never been completed, abandoned in the wake of the accident. John couldn't help but wonder if the automaton was still hidden somewhere within the mansion, a final piece of the puzzle waiting to be discovered. The subplot added emotional depth to the story, highlighting the themes of love, loss, and the enduring bonds between humans and animals. It also provided a poignant contrast to the main plot, offering moments of quiet reflection amidst the chaos and danger of the mansion. John's newfound understanding of the inventor's story brought a renewed sense of purpose to his journey. He was no longer just seeking answers. He was honoring the memory of a family and their loyal bulldog, carrying their legacy forward. As he and the bulldog continued their exploration of the mansion, John felt a profound connection to the past. The challenges they faced were not just physical obstacles, but emotional ones, requiring courage, empathy, and resilience. Together, they navigated the maze of memories and machines, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the mansion's mystery. In the quiet moments between challenges, John would often sit with the bulldog, reflecting on the journey they had undertaken. The bond they shared was a testament to the power of connection, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was light to be found in companionship and love. The subplot development not only enriched the narrative but also provided a deeper understanding of the characters and their motivations. It added layers of complexity to the story, making it a rich and emotionally resonant experience for the audience. Here's the seventh section, climactic twist and resolution. As the mansion's eerie silence enveloped John and the bulldog, the weight of the secrets within its walls seemed to press down upon them. They had come so far, solving puzzles, navigating hidden rooms, and unearthing long-forgotten memories. But the final pieces of the puzzle eluded them, the strange machines, and their intricate designs still held a mystery that was yet to be unraveled. The bulldog, loyal as ever, seemed to sense the tension, its alert eyes scanning every shadow and every movement with a quiet intensity. The turning point came unexpectedly, in a room that John had yet to explore. After days of searching, he discovered a hidden doorway behind an old tapestry. The door, seemingly ordinary but covered in dust and cobwebs, creaked open to reveal a narrow, dimly lit hallway. His heart pounded as he stepped inside, the faint light from a cracked window casting long shadows along the walls. The hallway seemed endless, stretching farther than he anticipated, and at the end, there was a large wooden door. It was unremarkable in appearance, but something about it tugged at John's instincts. As he reached for the handle, a deep metallic groan reverberated through the walls, as if the mansion itself was warning him to turn back. But there was no turning back now. Driven by the need for answers, John pressed on. With a single pull, the door opened to reveal a large circular room bathed in an otherworldly glow. In the center stood a towering contraption, an elaborate machine that resembled a fusion of gears, wires, and metal plating. It was as though the invention itself had come alive, humming with a low mechanical pulse. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary piece of machinery, but there was something distinctly unnatural about it. The air in the room felt thick, charged with an unsettling energy. As John stepped forward, the bulldog barked once, its voice sharp and urgent, as though trying to communicate a warning. But John, undeterred by the dog's caution, walked closer to the machine, his fingers brushing against the cold metal. In that moment, a strange vibration ran through his body, a deep hum that seemed to resonate from within the very core of the mansion. Suddenly, the machine sprang to life. Lights flickered, gears turned, and the walls seemed to shift as if the entire room was alive. The air grew heavy, the hum of the machine intensifying. A hidden panel in the floor slowly opened, revealing an old, worn chest. John's heart raced as he approached, the bulldog at his side, growling low in its throat as if it sensed something sinister. When John opened the chest, he found not gold or treasures, but something far more surprising, a collection of personal artifacts. Among the items was a small box, intricately carved and strangely warm to the touch. Inside, he discovered a set of blueprints, detailed designs for the automaton the inventor had so desperately tried to complete. It was then that John realized the full extent of the inventor's obsession. The machine in the center of the room wasn't just a machine. It was a creation built to preserve memories, to bring back what had been lost. The automaton was meant to be a companion, a representation of the inventor's son, his last desperate attempt to undo the pain of his grief. But the plans were incomplete, the design flawed. The invention had never worked as intended, and the inventor's obsession had driven him to madness, abandoning the project and sealing it away for good. As John examined the blueprints, a realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. The bulldog was not just a guardian, it was part of the invention. The loyal companion had been integrated into the machine's design as a key element, a protector not just of the mansion, but of the secrets within it. The bulldog had been there all along, watching over the remains of the inventor's work, guarding the last piece of the puzzle. The bulldog's role in the story became clear. It wasn't just protecting a lost vintage car, but guarding the final creation of a man, consumed by his own grief. The bulldog had been the bridge between the past and the present, standing as a silent witness to the inventor's tragic tale. Just as John began to process this revelation, the machine surged, once more its hum growing louder and more erratic. It seemed to be reacting to his presence, as if the secrets locked within were coming to life. The room vibrated, and the walls shook as the machine reached its peak. The air was thick with anticipation, and for a moment, John felt as though he had unlocked something dangerous. Suddenly, the bulldog lunged at him, its eyes wide with alarm. It was a split-second decision. The bulldog had sensed something even John hadn't. In a flash, the bulldog pushed him aside, its body taking the brunt of the blast that erupted from the machine. The explosion was deafening, sending shockwaves through the mansion. The lights flickered and shattered, and the machine's powerful hum was replaced by the sound of crumbling metal. John was thrown backward, but he managed to shield himself, his heart racing in fear. When the dust settled, the room was eerily silent. The bulldog, though shaken and battered, stood protectively by John's side. It had saved him from a fate that could have been far worse. But what they discovered next was beyond anything John could have imagined. As the rubble settled, he noticed something shimmering beneath the debris, something that hadn't been there before. It was a hidden compartment, its contents glowing with an ethereal light. Inside the compartment, John found a final piece of the automaton, a small, intricately crafted figure of a child holding the hand of a mechanical bulldog. It was a symbol of the inventor's lost son and the bond they had shared. The automaton had been incomplete, but now, in its final form, it was whole. The bulldog had guarded not just the machine but the legacy of a family torn apart by grief. In that moment, John understood the true significance of the mansion and its mystery. It wasn't about the machines or the technology. It was about love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of preserving memories. The bulldog had protected the inventor's legacy, and now, with its final act, it had helped John unlock the truth. As the bulldog looked up at him, its eyes filled with a quiet understanding, John knew that the mansion's secrets had been revealed, and that the bond between man and animal was more powerful than anything the inventor had ever created. With a deep sense of gratitude and respect, John finally left the mansion, the bulldog by his side. The journey had been long and arduous, but in the end it was the love and loyalty of a simple bulldog that had brought the story to its resolution. And so, as John and the bulldog walked away from the mansion, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the landscape. The mysteries had been solved, the past had been honored, and a new chapter had begun. The bulldog's watchful eyes remained fixed on the horizon, its loyalty unwavering as ever, guarding the memories of a lost time. Here's the 8th section, Reflective Ending. As John and the bulldog made their way back from the mansion, the world around them seemed different. The weight of the secrets they had uncovered still lingered in the air, but the oppressive tension that had once consumed the mansion had lifted, replaced by a sense of quiet peace. The bulldog, though weary, walked with the same proud gait it had shown from the very beginning, as if nothing had changed, yet everything had. John's mind replayed the events that had unfolded over the past few days. He had entered the mansion hoping to uncover something valuable, something that would bring answers to the questions that had haunted him for so long. But what he found was far more than he had ever imagined. The mansion, the bulldog, and the old inventor's tragic tale had been more than mere curiosities. They had been a reflection of the human experience itself. John had learned something profound in those dusty, hidden rooms. The things we hold most dear, the memories we try so desperately to preserve, often come with a price. The inventor's obsession with bringing back what he had lost, with creating a mechanical version of the love he once had consumed him. But the bulldog had been the one constant, the one true companion who had never wavered, guarding the secrets that the inventor had left behind. It was a reminder that some things are too precious to be altered, that love and loss are not meant to be controlled or perfected, they are meant to be lived. Looking down at the bulldog trotting beside him, John felt a surge of gratitude. It was impossible to ignore the bond they shared, the silent understanding that had passed between them from the very first moment they met. The bulldog had been a guardian, a protector, not only of the mansion and its mysteries, but also of John himself. And in turn, John had come to see the bulldog as more than a dog. It was a symbol of loyalty, a creature who had remained true to its purpose, despite the overwhelming odds and the heartbreaking story that had unfolded within the mansion. As they walked, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the open fields. The day was coming to an end, but the lessons of the mansion would remain with John forever. He had discovered that life was not about the things we accumulate, the treasures we seek, or the machines we build. It was about the connections we make along the way, And the most important connection of all was the one we shared with those who stood by us, no matter the cost. John stopped for a moment, his eyes taking in the rolling hills and the fading light of the day. It felt like a lifetime ago that he had first arrived at the mansion, eager to solve a mystery that seemed more and more trivial with each passing moment. What had seemed like an adventure now felt like a journey of self-discovery, a deepening understanding of the things that truly mattered. The bulldog sat at his side, looking up at him with a quiet, knowing gaze. For a moment, there was no need for words. They had both been through something extraordinary, and they had emerged from it changed. There was no more searching for answers, no more chasing after mysteries, or trying to understand what had been left behind. They had found something far more valuable than any treasure, the simple, enduring power of loyalty and love. As they continued their walk, John reflected on the lessons that the mansion and the bulldog had taught him. He thought about the inventor, who had tried so desperately to hold on to the past, and how his obsession had led to his undoing. The inventor had built machines to preserve memories, to create something that would last beyond death. But in the end, it was not the machines that had endured. It was the love and loyalty of the bulldog. The inventor had never truly understood that the most valuable things in life cannot be preserved or controlled. They must be lived and cherished in the present. John also thought about the bulldog's role in all of this. The dog had never wavered, never strayed from its duty to protect and serve, even when the world around it was falling apart. In the end, the bulldog had been the key to unlocking the mansion's secrets and had saved John from the dangers that lay within. But more than that, the bulldog had taught John what it meant to be steadfast, to remain true to one's purpose, and to protect what is dear, no matter the cost. As the last rays of sunlight faded and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, John knew that his life had been forever changed. He had come to the mansion searching for answers, but what he had found was a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. He had learned that it was not the mysteries of the past that mattered, but the connections we make in the present. And in that moment, as he looked at the bulldog by his side, John understood that the most important thing in life was not what we can hold on to, but what we are willing to give. With that realization came a sense of peace, a peace that had eluded John for so long. He had found his way, not through the mysteries of the mansion, but through the bond he had shared with the bulldog. It was a bond that transcended time, a bond that had remained unbroken despite the trials they had faced together. As they reached the edge of the mansion's grounds, John stopped and looked back one final time. The mansion stood in the distance, its dark silhouette against the fading sky. It was no longer a place of mystery or fear, but a place of memories, a place that had taught him everything he needed to know about love, loss, and the things that truly matter. John turned away from the mansion, taking the bulldog's paw in his hand as they continued their journey. The world ahead of them was full of unknowns, but for the first time, John felt ready to face whatever came next. With the bulldog by his side, he knew he could handle anything. Together, they had uncovered the greatest mystery of all, that the heart's true treasures are found not in the past, but in the love we give and receive in the present. As they walked into the night, the stars shining brightly above them, John felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared. The mystery was over, but the adventure of life, an adventure built on loyalty, love, and trust, was just beginning.